Just want to acknowledge Tricky today. And hey Trick, that poem, man, hit me straight from the heart, eh? I love this guy. He's not perfect, but what I've seen is that as much as he's done for this movement over the years, he hasn't just got critics, this guy's got enemies. And I'm not just talking about from the government either. And I want to honour you today, mate, from me and my family. We weren't at all the rallies from 2020 that he mentioned and onwards. Pretty much the start of 2021, we started coming out and being part of what Tricky was doing. But I tell you what, when I walked into the gardens that first time with my family, and you know, we'd all been going through a whole lot of a barrage, you know, coming from the mainstream media, from friends, family, employers, everyone. And you could just feel this dark, you know, foreboding coming on, not only Australia, but around the world. We could see it was like I picked it from very early on. I said, this is like a communist takeover, you know, and we're experiencing, we're living in it. And to walk into these gardens, it was in the February of 2021, Trick, and I come in here and music's playing and all you guys are here. It's just to see that we're not alone. There's others who are going to make a stand, who are going to push back on this thing. And then I remember November last year. Who was here in November last year? This whole place was just packed to the seams, you know. And that was just before the mandates kicked in, you know, and we realised that these guys were playing for keeps. And the theme of this rally is I believe, and I want to resonate what Tricky said. I believe in you. I believe in you because I know that all of us out here have had the flame, our feet to the flame, and we didn't capitulate. We've had our jobs and our livelihoods threatened. For some of us, they took our jobs off us. They took our livelihoods off us. For others, you know, it meant we couldn't see our family. We couldn't travel. We couldn't go into institutions and places where we needed to go. We couldn't even go and see the doctor. We made a stand and we had our feet to the flame and we didn't give in. So I believe in you. I'm glad if I want anyone to be around me and who have my back and stand next to me, it's you lot. It's you lot. Not only that, we had the shaming that went on by the media, constantly shaming, bullying, coercion, intimidation. And it sometimes took, you know, coming out to a rally like this just to recalibrate ourselves. You know what I mean? And to get around like-minded people. And hey, we are an eclectic bunch, I got to say. We all, if I asked you your opinion, I reckon we'd almost all have a different one each. Yet we're still here and we have some common ground. And coming back to what I was saying about this bloke, you know, he's not the Messiah. We'll leave that heavy burden to Jesus Christ, amen? But he's doing a good job, and I credit him and I thank him for what he's done for us in Brisbane and Queensland. Good on you, mate. You've shown amazing courage, eh? Amazing courage, dedication and tenacity. And I'm honoured to stand next to him. The theme of this get-together is called I Believe. It's a powerful theme because it speaks to me of faith and it speaks to me of conviction. And as I just said, we are, and I'm talking to people of conviction. People who said, you know, you're not going to change my mind by pressuring me. I'm not going to sell my soul for anything. And if you've made it this far and you've lost your job and you've lost your family, you've lost your friends, and you've really lost your rose-coloured glasses view of the earth and the world, and you've made it this far, well, you're not buckling for anybody. And difficult days are coming. This is a war, and I believe we've won some strategic battles this year. The biggest battles we've won have been internal. You know, there's not one of us here today who are the same as what we were before all this started. Would you agree with that? There is not one of us here today who is the same as what we were when this all started. The biggest victory has been what's happened inside of us. We've discovered who we are. We've discovered the strength of our convictions. For many of us, we rekindled our faith in God, our Creator, in whose image we are made and share and display to the earth. You know, the globalists satanic agenda that's going on wants to reduce every one of us from humans made in the image of God to the status of animals that you can tag and chip and ID and herd into compliance. I tell you today, I believe we're not animals. We're made in the image of God. We have a dignity that He has placed on us that government and when I say government, I'm talking about rogue governments, can never take that dignity off us. Ever. Just before I go on, I just want to honour the nurses as well and the health workers today. We really need to honour these guys. They're still standing. They're still mandated out of their profession. Health workers. I know the mandates are finally dropping now for supermarket workers, and there will be other industries that I've missed. But I know one today is the health workers, and you're still standing, and we salute you, and we honour you, and we do not forget you. We've had a lot of achievements, we've had a lot of wins, but there are still parts of this, what I call proud Jericho walls of politico-farmer tyranny and medical segregation that are still standing, stubborn little sections. They're going to be completely flattened, not one brick left on another by the time we're finished with this. Like Martin Luther King Jr., the great civil rights activist said, old man segregation is on his deathbed, but he must die if democracy is to live. And we're not going to give up until old man segregation is dead and buried for everybody. We're talking really about a war, is what I mentioned before. And I know you know this as well. This war that we're in is psychological and it's spiritual. I don't think I'm saying anything new to any person here. This is a spiritual war we're in. And that's why we are encouraged to put on the full armour of God, that we might be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, put on the full armour of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, stand. I've spoken about this very scripture with Tricky in the past. One of you handed it to him and it moved him, it touched him, about the armour of God. And we are standing today in an evil day. The war is not over. It's going to heat up from here on in. And what we've been talking about thus far are practical things, and they're good. Things like community, getting together, rallies, gathering together. But there's also spiritual things that we need to be aware of in this war. And I want to talk to you today about a prophet from thousands of years ago. He was living around the time of the man who was named Josiah. Tricky's son is named Josiah. It means fire of the Lord. I know, because my son is named Josiah. And around the same time there was a prophet living, and you know what he did? He was good at exposing conspiracies. You know, this idea that, there's no such, conspiracy theory. They use this idea of conspiracy theory to shut down argument and debate. You know what I mean? So if you have a dissenting opinion, you might have facts, you might have experts, but they'll say it's a conspiracy theory, then you're shamed into silence. That phrase was first coined around the time of the JFK, John F. Kennedy assassination, by the CIA to shut down any debate or any conjecture that there might have been more than one shooter. And it's been weaponized ever since to shut down debate and transparency around what's going on. The fact is that government are not noble and good and virtuous like Rainer was telling us before. Government is open and prone to corruption, and whilst government has a place, government also has boundaries that are set for it by God Himself. And one of the boundaries that they cannot cross is in the area of bodily autonomy. Your body is your own. And it's, you have the right to make a decision, an informed decision, about the medical treatments that you receive. This is enshrined in constitutional law. It's a fundamental tenet of medical ethics. It's a basic human right. You have the right to make an informed decision about the medical treatments that you receive. And at the very least, certainly when it comes to these experimental pharma injectables, you have the right to say no. So, something's going on. We've got to follow the money trail, and it's the honour of kings to search out a matter, and we're going to get to the bottom of this one day, and we're going to find out who paid who, what went on behind closed doors, what's going on. And as I said before, we've all got a theory. If I ask you, all tell me a different one. But the fact is that there is a conspiracy going on around this thing. We know it. And I tell you what, the prophet of old Elisha, he knew it as well. And he would expose these conspiracies. When the king of Israel went to go somewhere, the other king, the enemy king, was setting a trap for him. So he'd tell the king. He did it several times. He'd say, don't go this way. There's a trap set for you. There's a conspiracy going on to take your life. And he'd tell him. To the point that the enemy king, who was the king of Syria at the time, he said right to his inner circle of servants, he said, which one of you is telling my plans to the enemy? Which one of you is the controlled opposition? Who is it? And they said to him, hey, it's none of us, but that bloke Elisha, that prophet, what you whisper in your bedroom, he tells the king of Israel. That's what it's like when you're walking close with God. That's what it's like when you're hearing his voice. And he would expose conspiracy after conspiracy. So you know what happened? He said, find out where he is. I want to get him. So they said he's in the city of Dothan. So they sent this whole army, chariots and horses, and they surrounded that city of Dothan. They were there for one man. And you know what? They came at night. It was a surprise ambush attack. I tell you what, something is coming for us at night. There are ambushes planned. Make no mistake. We've had some wins, we've had some victories, but the war is not over. These guys are not playing nice. They've got more plans for us. They arrived at night and they surrounded that city. And his servant got up in the morning and came out and saw the armies there and went, oh man, what's going on? He said, alas, what shall we do? He said to the prophet, and the prophet looked at him and said, there are more with us than there are with them. And he's looking around going, what? And then he just said this one prayer. He said, "Lo Lord, open his eyes that he may see." And he looked up. I want you to look up now. Friends, look up. Look up, because when he looked up, he saw the mountain filled with horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. There are more with us than there are with them. And if Tricky, you're going to have to give me a part 2 to finish the story. That's going to take too long, mate. But suffice to say, he rescued, God himself and those angel armies rescued the prophet and his servant. They were there for 2 people. And they rescued them. And I tell you something today, I want to say this. This theme is I believe. So I want to tell you something that I believe. You know, the captain of those angel armies, he's alive and well today. The captain of those angel armies that helped Elisha in the days of Josiah is the king over every king. He's the Lord over every Lord. The captain of those angel armies is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And mark my words, he's about to roar. This tyranny and this oppression, he sees it. The scripture is full of the fact that God is on the side of the oppressed. He hears the cries of the afflicted. And I just want you to remember something today. You hear different things. This is what I believe. I want you to remember, when those armies surround your city, look up. Because there's a message I'm bringing to you today from the captain of those angel armies. His name is Jesus Christ. And he says to you today, I'm on nobody's side, but come onto my side. I am alive. Behold, yes, I was dead, but I'm alive now, and I have the keys of death and hell. And I tell you something about him. I mention him by name because we can look at people like Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi led one of the most powerful non-violent resistance movements in history. I tell you what, Jesus Christ was an inspiration for him. Have a look at his biographies. Have a look at what he said and wrote. Jesus Christ was an inspiration. You look at someone like Martin Luther King Jr. Jesus Christ was more than an inspiration for that man who led the civil rights movement. He was his Lord. And Jesus Christ, when he showed us the ultimate in what holy resistance looks like, he came face to face with Satan himself. And when he was offered the kingdoms of this world, he would not sell his soul. He would not bow his knee. And then when Satan came and offered him the most public, humiliating, excruciating death on that Roman cross, he still did not bow his knee, even though he had the power to call those angel armies that I've just mentioned down to rescue him. Why? Because he didn't see death on that cross as a defeat. He saw it as a victory, friends. He saw it as a victory. Wind it up. Am I going to get a part 2 after this trip?
Your testament.
So his message to us today is this. He's alive and well. Those same angel armies that I mentioned that saved that prophet are here today. And he's asking and he's offering each one of us to come on his side for the next round. And I, for one, that's what I'm doing and that's what I'm looking for, because the enemies that we're facing, guys, it's an attack on our identity, it's an attack on our humanity. They've got all the resources, they've got all the technology, and this battle is going to be fought in the heavenlies and it's spiritual, and I know who I need on my side, or whose side I'm going to go on at least. God bless you guys. I've been asked to wind it up, and I pretty much covered everything I want to cover. Again, thanks Tricky for everything you're doing, man, and thanks for letting me talk about, under this theme, what I believe, bro.
Thank you, Dylan.